Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited that you are able to join us today. I want to welcome you to another Living Well presentation. Before I start, I just want to state our disclaimer. This presentation is for educational purposes only. Information shared is based on research, personal experience, and biblical scripture. Our goal is to educate you on the topic, not to assess, diagnose, prescribe, or treat any medical conditions. If you have a specific condition or situation in which you are concerned, you are encouraged to seek advice from your personal physician. Again, this is for educational purposes only. Today, we are going to talk about the power of beans. So what are beans? Beans are the seeds from flowering plants and they are in the Fabaceae family and are classified as legumes. There are various types of beans, such as red beans, black beans, soya beans, pinto beans, black-eyed peas, chickpeas, and lentils, just to name a few. Beans are unique in the sense that they are considered a vegetable and a protein. Because like vegetables, beans are full of fiber, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients that promotes health. On the other hand, unlike most vegetables, beans offer a substantial amount of plant-based protein and are used as a meat and animal protein substitute. Today, I'm going to point out some reasons why we need beans in our diet, benefits of beans, benefits from eating beans, and to debunk some of the myths about beans. I'm going to give some hints on how to prepare beans and how to include these powerful nutrients in our diet. So, why do we need beans? They are good for human consumption, bottom line. Beans are packed with lots of micronutrients, such as vitamins, minerals, and are very high in antioxidants. I just want to state something about antioxidants. So antioxidants are compounds that inhibits oxidation. This is a chemical reaction that takes place in our bodies daily. And when this chemical reaction takes place, it produces something called free radicals. So free radicals are constantly being produced in our bodies daily due to this chemical reaction that takes place in our bodies. We also face free radical exposure from, externally from a variety of environmental sources, such as cigarette smoking, air pollution, sunlight, these produce free radicals. So free radicals can cause oxidative stress, and that is where the problem lies. This process, oxidative stress, causes cell damage. So we want to reduce oxidative stress as much as possible. Oxidative stress is thought to play a role in a variety of disease, including cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, eye disease, such as cataracts, and age-related macular degenerations. But beans, because they are packed with powerful antioxidants, can help protect our cells from this oxidative stress and damaging of our cells. Besides the antioxidants, beans also, they have phytonutrients. So phytonutrients are beneficial in our health. Basically, they help to prevent disease. That's what phytonutrients is. Those are the nutrients that you find in food. Beans also contain macronutrients. So macronutrients like protein, we find in beans, healthy carbohydrates. They're very high in fiber, which we need in our diet, and low in fats. Beans contain amino acids, which are building blocks that the body uses to heal and to make new tissue such as bone, muscle, hair, skin, and blood. Beans should be an important staple in our diet. Unfortunately, the American diet does not support the consumption of beans. According to Dr. Michael Gregory, nutritionalfat.org, 96% of Americans do not eat the minimum requirements of daily daily beans allowance. What's the allowance? According to the USD dietary guidelines, they recommend that we should eat at least 3 cups of beans per week. Just eating half a cup of beans daily will achieve this weekly recommendation guideline. So why should we eat beans? Basically, we should eat beans because they are healthy alternative protein, and they add several nutritional benefits to our health. So what are some of these nutritional benefits contained in beans? Beans are very high in protein. The beans in protein vary depending on the type of beans, but most beans contain 25 to 35% of protein, thus making it an excellent protein substitute. So protein, let's look at it in grams. As I said, different beans have contain different amount of protein. For example, pinto beans will have like 15 grains, lentil will have 18 grams of 15 grams of protein, while lentils have 18 grams, soya have 31 grams. Soya has the highest amount of protein in it. So besides this protein, we also have vitamins. Beans are high in vitamins, especially vitamin B6, B9, which is a vitamin that we need, to build our nervous system, protect our nervous system, and help with depression, and help to reduce stress. The only thing is, vitamin B12 is not found in beans, so we have to substitute that, and I'll show you how we can. So vitamins, full of vitamins, especially vitamin B. Also, minerals. Beans are full of minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. According to the healthychildren.org, these 3 minerals account for 98% of the body's mineral content by weight, of our body mineral content by weight. So if we can eat our beans, we will have enough calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, and we will have to take supplements. Calcium and phosphorus play a basic role in countless biochemical reactions at cellular level. They are also the main components of skeleton and are important for bone health. Without magnesium, many metabolic functions could not take place. So we need our minerals. Besides minerals, beans contain iron. Iron is a mineral that the body needs for growth and development. Our body use iron to make hemoglobin. We need hemoglobin so when we breathe oxygen into our lung, the oxygen connects, attached to the hemoglobin, and helps, and the blood flows through our system and carry along with it rich oxygenated blood to all parts of the body. Adding citrus like lemon juice to our beans helps potentiate the effectiveness of iron and make it more bioavailable for the body to utilize. Another mineral is zinc. Zinc helps strengthen the immune system and play a role in other metabolic functions. Zinc is also important to wound healing and our sense of taste and smell. Another important nutrient in beans is fiber. Now, fiber is an essential macronutrient in our diet. Beans are excellent source of fiber because they contain both soluble and insoluble fiber that feed our gut bacteria and maintain a healthy microbiome. Due to the content of fiber in beans, it can also act as a cleanser and detoxifier. That to say again, we are not getting enough fiber in our diet. According to Dr. Gregory, less than 3% of Americans get the recommended minimum amount of fiber intake on a daily basis. Another important vitamin or mineral is folic acid. Folic acid is important in the red blood cell formation and for healthy cell growth and function. This nutrient is critical during early pregnancy to reduce the risk of birth defects and also brain and spinal deformities. Potassium. Potassium is another mineral that we need in our diet. It's very important. It allows the nerves to respond to stimulus and muscles to contract, including the heart, because the heart is a muscle. It helps with our heart contractility. It also reduces the effects of sodium. So if sodium is reduced in the blood in our body, it will help reduce blood pressure. So it helps with blood pressure. It helps to move nutrients into cell and move waste products out of a cell. Antioxidants that I spoke about a while ago is also the #1 way of reducing free radicals, which damage our cells, and is also important because damaged cells can start forming into cancerous cells. The American Institute of Cancer Research recommends we eat beans and whole grain daily to prevent cancer. Phytonutrients are nutrients in our food that protects us from disease. Epidemiologists, researchers suggest that phytonutrients are associated with reducing the risk of many chronic diseases, including cardiovascular disease, and maybe protective against certain types of cancer. I keep on saying the same thing because beans are very important in our diet. They help with all of these chronic diseases that we are facing today. And you know what? It is one of the cheapest, healthiest food we can find in the supermarket. Very economical. Besides being cheap, it is also very filling because they contain lots of fiber and a healthy source of carbohydrates. And finally, they are very versatile. You can take beans and do so many things with it. You can cook it, you can make loaves, meatloaf, patties, bread, spreads, and even cookies from beans. Research has shown that eating beans daily lower cholesterol. Thus, when cholesterol is lower, it will reduce the risk of stroke. It helps to regulate blood pressure and blood sugar, I mean. It also helps lower inflammation. We know inflammation is the root cause of diseases. It helps with depression. It reduces the incidence of colon cancer, not only colon cancer, but breast cancer and prostate cancer. Eating beans can help support our immune health, as I said before, our central nervous system. It helps support that and also help with weight maintenance. So you see how important beans can be in our diet. And it's just simple. It doesn't cost much, and it can be easily prepared if we do it the right way. I want to talk about just, I found this when I was doing my research, and I found this, and it talked about, black beans. It was just pointing out some of the good products or substitutes or substance, I should say, that are in black beans. It reduces impotency and erectile dysfunction in older men. It helps to regulate blood sugar level. It reduces the risk of cancer, help to lower blood cholesterol, prevent heart attacks and stroke. And this is similar to lots of other beans. It just showed us black bean. I want to talk something about the second, is it not moving? Second meal effect. Now, the second meal effect, beans produce that. Beans have a mild effect on blood sugar control, but it also has an added benefit on controlling blood sugar throughout the entire meal and subsequent meal. So when you're eating beans with your meal, it helps with the blood sugar. It allows insulin, to slowly release and to reduce that the spike, I should say, in blood sugar. So your blood sugar doesn't go up and down, and it helps to keep it at a level. Beans can lower blood sugar response to food consumed hours later and even a whole night. So with a lower blood sugar spike, it leads to less insulin, which leads to lower cholesterol and triglyceride levels. So since beans have demonstrated such potential value, how often should we eat them? Well, according to Evita Ochel, she's a health science nutritionist, educator, and a researcher. She's stating that beans should be eaten daily with a minimum of 1 cup a day. You do not have to eat a whole cup in one sitting. You can spread it out throughout the day. Some individuals may experience digestive problems after eating beans, and here's some recommendations she gave. If you are not used to eating beans, start off slowly until your intestine adjusts to it. So we have to adjust to beans. You just cannot just start eating a whole cup full of bean or half a cup full of bean if you're not accustomed. That is what will cause some of the digestive problems. And there are certain beans like mugger beans and lentils, which, are less gas producing. So maybe you can start off eating those first before you get into the other types of beans. If you have a very sensitive gut, start with 1 tablespoon of beans, add it to your lunch or to your supper. You start off with that for a couple of days, and then you gradually add maybe 2 tablespoons and keep adding until you come to a half a cup, until you get to a cup of beans. You add these gradually and see how your stomach will react. When you are accustomed to eating refined foods, this is one of the reasons why we have problems with our gut, our beans, why we are so gassy and bloating, is because the gut bacteria that we have in our gut are not the healthy type, or not the healthy bacteria, bacteria, because we are accustomed eating refined sugars, carbohydrates, oils, and animal products. And this gut bacteria is different. So when you start eating beans, you start having this reaction. You must give time for your gut microbiome to change from an unhealthy state to a healthy state. So by gradually introducing these beans into your diet, it's going to also change your gut bacteria, and you will not be uncomfortable now when you start eating the when you start eating these foods. I have to stop that. Okay. Are you still seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So here we have some other things that we can do to help prevent some of the problems that we experience when we eat beans. So if you're still having problems with eating the beans after you reduce it slowly and all of that, a good idea also is to look at the way you're cooking the beans. From what I saw, what I researched, these are some spices. Adding to your beans, cook while you're cooking, can help reduce some of the gas that beans, because beans does produce a gas. These can also help decrease that. Clove, cinnamon, garlic, turmeric, pepper, ginger. I read somewhere where some people said that adding some baking soda to the beans help with reducing the bloating. Another thing we need to do is we need to soak our beans. Before this is dry beans I'm talking about. Before you cook your beans, you must soak them. This problem should eliminate, the gassy problem that you have maybe after eating beans for a couple of days or weeks will be eliminated according to one writer. We need to soak our beans to unlock the nutrients in these beans, because beans have a protective coating on them that prevent insects from destroying them. So when we soak our beans, it gets rid of that, and also it opens up the beans because the beans are dried up. All the nutrients are locked up into the beans, so you need to soak it to open up and release those nutrients. After you soak your beans, you must, at least for 8 to 24 hours, you need to soak your beans. It depends on the type of bean. Lentils, maybe don't need to soak as long, but beans like red beans and pinto beans and those larger beans, they need to soak at least 8 to 24 hours. One writer said up to 24 hours. She soaks a bean. After 8 hours, she will throw off that water and soak it again for another period of time, another 8 hours or so. After the bean is soaked, you must get rid of that water before you start cooking. You drain the water, you rinse it well, and then you cover the beans with water. Make sure the beans are totally covered, and you put it on your stove on high initially. Let it boil up for about 3 or so minutes, and then you turn it down and let it simmer until it's cooked. Beans should not take more than 15 to 60 minutes, depending on the type of bean. Again, lentils and those soft beans might take about 15 or so minutes, and the other harder beans might take about an hour. But according to what Evita said, it should not take more than an hour. If the bean is taking more than an hour, you need to look at the type of water, because if the water is hard water, the beans will take longer to cook. If you are using hard water, so it's best to use, I guess, some kind of a distilled or so water if you have hard water. She suggests if you do have hard water, to add some salt to the water when the beans are being cooked. It will help to soften the beans. So some of the problems, I know there are a lot of problems out there with beans, that we shouldn't eat beans, that they're not healthy. They have all sorts of problems like proteinase inhibitors. So These claims, proteinase inhibitors are found in raw beans, but almost non-existent in when the beans are prepared, when they are cooked. They're almost non-existent. As a matter of fact, some scientists believe that these proteinase inhibitors could be considered a phytonutrient because they show some health benefits when eaten in small amounts. Another problem with beans is lectin. Lectin is a type of protein found in beans. But once you soak the beans and cook them, these lectins are not problematic. Phytic acid. This is a protective enzyme beans use to protect themselves from predators. Phytic acid have been shown to inhibit the absorption of minerals and can decrease the absorption of iron, zinc, magnesium, and calcium. Then again, if you cook your beans properly and prepare it properly before cooking, that is by soaking your beans, bean fermentation, those and what? Germination, they help decrease this phytic acid. So if you, as again, prepare your beans properly, you can enjoy your beans and have all the nutrients that these beans contain. So bean is not a complete protein. You will hear that. These are the complete protein. B12 is not found in beans. So how can we make bean a healthy food for us? Well, what researchers have found is when you add beans with whole grain, they now become a complete protein. So you must always eat your beans with whole grains, such as brown rice, amaranth, quinoa. These are good grains, whole grains that we can add when we are eating beans. Another bean that people have a lot of problems with and talk about is soya. Or before I do that, I should talk about, I did not mention, I had this here, to avoid canned beans with BPA. So BPA is a hormone disruptor. And this is causing a lot of problem with male and female with hormonal issues. So we need to avoid canned foods as much as possible, especially those cans, if they do not state they're BPA free, that means they are not. So we need to, if you're going to have to eat beans, I'm not in a can, I'm not saying never, never, never. Sometimes we're in a rush and we need to prepare some beans. Always look for beans, first of all, that says organic, especially soya. And they must be sodium free, and it must say no additives, because sometimes they add sugar and other additives to the beans in the can. Read your labels. And also they must be BPA free. When you purchase your beans in a can, always rinse it before using it. If it has sodium on it, one reporter said that if you rinse your beans, and if it's a bean with sodium, it takes off at least 40% of the sodium is washed away when you rinse your beans. So rinse the beans. When it's in a can, always rinse your beans. So another bean that we talk about, has been talked about, is soya. Soya is highly criticized because it is one of the most highly genetically modified organism food on the planet. People are afraid of it because it is also high in fat. It has a high fat content compared to other beans. Soya has 40% calories from fat when compared to other beans. This is why soya is fed to animals to help fatten them up for slaughter. 77% of soya products that is produced in this country goes towards feed and animal feed, and only 7% of soya that is made for human consumption. Another concern in soya is the phytoestrogen that affect human hormones and could be a problem for cancer in both men and women. The only soya. So all of this could be true. Why? Because if you use GMO soya, then that's where you will be finding the problem. So the only soya that I will recommend that we use is organic soya products. Stay away from GMO products because they are highly pesticides and genetically modified, and they are not healthy. But organic soya beans are healthy for us. So one soya is used, so the only soya, stay away from GMO products. One soya is used in its natural form, like edamame. This is the young soya green bean, the young green soya beans. Those are the best form of soya beans that we eat. Fermented soya beans like tempeh, that's also a good form of soya to eat. Tofu can be used, but remember it is processed and also it's lost some of its nutritional value. Now they have sprouted soya, tofu, sprouted tofu. That is better than just the regular soya. That is even better because it's sprouted. Anything that's sprouted contains more nutrients in it. The texture of vegetable soya products, protein products, should not be part of our diet since these products are highly processed, full of sodium, and are made from mostly from genetically modified soybean. It is also full of endogenous products like IGF. IGF is a growth hormone and it's linked to cancer. So as much as possible, stay away from the GMO soyas. If you're going to eat soya, you can eat soya, not a problem. Eat the organic soya. Here are some benefits from eating soya. It's diabetic friendly, it's good for iron absorption, it improves skin health, it decreases the risk of breast cancer. This is organic soya. It decreases the risk of prostate cancer and improves blood flow. Soya can be eaten. And we're going to debunk this fact that soya you should not eat. Only we should not eat GMO soya. So the last slide I want to show is how can we prepare beans? You know, we hear so much about eat beans, but how can we prepare beans? So this is an example of a bean dish. This is a bean salad. So what does this contain? This is a whole meal. This is like a salad. This is like for lunch. As you notice, there are beans, and there are different types of beans in the salad. There are also greens, which is, help with the nutritional value of this, and it has grains. So this is a whole meal. It has peppers, and it's delightful to the eye and also to the taste. So this could be a whole meal, and you will have more than a cup or half a cup, at least a cup of beans in this salad, and you'll be able to have your daily allowance for the day. Another dish that, another dish full of beans, also added avocado to it, a good healthy fat that to add to your diet. This beans have like some lemon. Remember I talked about the lemon, citrus. Adding citrus to your beans can help with iron absorption. So this adding some lemon, excellent. Another way we can get beans into our diet is like from soups. Here we have this soup. It has red beans, it has pinto beans, it has various types of beans in it. And also you can add some grains to it, barley, um, um, amaranth or quinoa. Add it to your soup to make it a healthy, complete meal. Here, this another meal here with beans, and you can see this looks like quinoa. That's what's added to the beans to make it a complete dish. Beans can also be used for like in burgers. You can take beans and make burgers. These are different ways you can incorporate beans in your diet by using it for burgers, patties, and so forth. Now, in conclusion, I just want to just go over how important beans are. Beans can be a very good substitute for meat because it is high in protein content. Always accompany beans with whole grain to make it a complete protein, not refined grains, but whole grains. Beans can provide lots of antioxidant, phytonutrients, minerals to our diet. Consuming beans daily has protective health benefits. It is also a blood sugar stabilizer, a cancer protector, cardiovascular enhancer, inflammation reductor, and an antidepressant booster. Fear of gas from beans is just exaggerated. Once your microbiome gets adjusted to beans, they will thank you for introducing them to a high quality soluble and soluble fiber. Today, I have shared with you some of these the nutritional powers of beans. Now, take this power and optimize your health. Thank you for listening.
Oh, Emilyn, that was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing about the power of beans. There's a few questions in the chat that we want to answer, and I'm going to read them to you, Emilyn. I don't know if you had a chance to see them or not, but there was a question about, should you pressure cook your beans?
Yes, I was reading that you can pressure cook your beans. One article even think by pressure cooking your beans, it decreases that lectin, that protein that tends to damage your gut, but it helps to prevent decrease lectins. So it's okay to pressure cook your beans.
Great. And then there's a question about putting back up the slide regarding the different spices. You had on there the garlic, the clove, turmeric. There were quite a few spices that you said that would help, that would reduce the gas. So we want to allow the participants to see that slide again.
Yes, sure. I'm sorry. I don't know why my thing stopped moving in the midst of everything, but
not a worry, Emilyn. We learned a lot from today's lesson. I even heard when you said you could put lemon in with your beans as well. Thought that was interesting.
Right. I did not know that fact. Adding lemon to your, some lemon juice, not a whole lot, but just adding that to your beans, it helps potentiate the iron absorption.
Right.
So if you have problem with iron and you're eating beans, because they will tell you, oh, you need to eat liver, you need to eat all these animal organs in order to get for iron and so. But by eating beans, you can do that. You can improve your iron resources. So yes, put in some lemon juice on it.
And I love that you talked about it being an antioxidant. Many of the chronic diseases that we have are related to, the damage to the cells. And I think one of the key things that I heard you say, when our cells become damaged, we're more at risk for cancer. And so I think that people, even me, learning, hearing that, we keep saying people keep ending up with cancer. Why are they getting cancer? Well, if they don't have enough of the antioxidants, if they don't have, you say the phytonutrients was another one you mentioned. If we're not getting enough of that, then our cells are not protected.
That's right. Yes. And food, the only thing that we have to nourish ourselves is our food, nothing else. Basically, nothing else can, our fruits, vegetables, that is what nourishes ourselves. And if we do not give ourselves the right nourishment, the right food, it's going to die. It's going to become disease and we're going to have lots of problems. So give the body, this is what was my mantra. I used to say, give the body what it needs, and the innate intelligence of the body will know exactly what to do with
What
it.
to do with it, yes. You know, one other thing you mentioned, Emilyn, was about if you have diabetes and you're taking insulin. By adding beans
Yes,
into your diet, you mentioned that they could help regulate the blood sugar so much so that they don't need as
yes,
much insulin. They don't have to use as
yes,
much insulin, so they could save some money on that insulin. Sounds like it. Sounds
right.
like it to
Yeah,
me.
it does not cause a spiking of blood sugar as it's
Right.
of it as it should. Yeah, so this is the second meal effects because they said that beans. I know with diabetics, they tell them to eat, several meals a day and all of this so they can produce the second meal effect. But with beans, you can you can obtain that second meal effect the same way. And as a matter of fact, it seems like it lasts for a whole 24 hours, just by eating some beans. I know they're going to say, oh, it's full of carbohydrate, and people are afraid of carbohydrate, but they're afraid of carbohydrates going to turn into sugar, and that's going to make them fat, and they're going to have high sugar. But the difference between refined carbohydrates and complex carbohydrate like beans, they are full of fiber, soluble and insoluble fiber that our guts need. We need to heal our gut. We need to feed our gut with the right bacteria. And what our guts feed on is fiber. Fiber is food for our gut. And if we can feed our gut with good healthy fiber, we are going to improve our gut microbiome. We will have this bloating and gassy and uncomfortable feeling after eating, or even eating beans.
Well, Emilyn, well, I can only say thank you so much for sharing such valuable information. I like that you told us what the recommended amount is per week. You know, start out slow and then increase it into
Yeah,
your diet and choose the beans that you like. I do appreciate you putting that up about the black beans because there's so many things on that list that I saw that many times
yeah,
people don't know what the beans are good for. Now, beans are good in general, but some actually have other nutrients. Like you mentioned, the soybean has a higher protein than
protein.
some of the other ones, you know. So sometimes we eat because we like the food, but we don't realize the nutritional value of it. And so I do appreciate you sharing with us some of the things that have been studied in research regarding the benefits of eating beans, also black beans, soybeans, all of those beans of which we can benefit from. Also, I love that you talked about if you're going to eat beans, make sure that you eat some type of a grain to make it a complex so that you're not just eating the bean, because you know how we go from one extreme to the next, eating none to just eating beans. But in order to maximize, and that's the key word, the benefit of beans is to add it with a whole grain.
Right, because in itself is not a complete protein because it's one of the amino acid is missing, depends on the bean. So
Right.
adding, yes, whole grain with your beans, it does make it a complete, you know, protein. So it
Mm.
has all the amino acids, it makes it complete. Because meat, is the only complete protein. So that's why they're saying vegetarians, maybe need to, oh, I didn't talk about the B12. Vegetarian needs to add like yeast, like nutritional yeast is good for B12. to help supplement B12. Or sometimes we might need to take a B12 supplement.
Right.
Before doing that, you need to check with the doctor, get, a B12 level, see what it is. And, but that's, important, B12. So B12, the B vitamin is very important for nerve function. So we need to make sure we're getting all of it.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing, Emilyn. I don't know if you have any final words or any questions. I don't see any more questions in the chat at this point, but I do see a comment that you can buy non-GMO soybeans and make your own tofu. So there's no excuse. I'm going to put that down. There is no excuse for not eating healthy and eating well. We have no excuse. There's a lot of research out there. And we try to bring on this program information that we believe will help you on your journey to health and wellness. As someone said at the very beginning, we want to empower you to make lifestyle choices that can not only prevent diseases or help you to maintain if you have diseases, but also to prolong your life so that we can live that abundant life that God promised us in John 10:10.
Yep.
Any final words, Emilyn?
Yeah, just, the message that we bring day after day, or week after week, I should say, is not just for entertainment, but is for us to take it and make it part of our diet, make it part of our lifestyle, and to do these lifestyle changes because we want to live healthy. We want to have healthy bodies because with a healthy body, you're going to have a clear mind and you'll be able to make wise decisions because, listen, our bodies are the temple of God and we want Him to live within a temple that is healthy. So with that said, I'm glad that you were able to be here today. Remember, invite a friend, bring them along so they too can learn just as much as you are learning about healthy ways to take care of your body. Thanks for coming. At this time, if there are no more questions, no more comments, this time we always end with prayer and we always, reach out to our audience. I don't know if anyone, has a prayer request. You can write it in the chat. You can state it. Or let me stop recording. I'm sorry. Stop recording. Let me first stop recording.